Hi there, I'm Kendra from kendraperry.net. I am an online business strategist for health and wellness coaches. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you the 5 things that you need to know to be successful in 2020 in your health coaching business. And before we move forward, a quick favor that I would super appreciate if you could do for me, subscribe to my channel. I post videos just like this one every single Thursday. So if you are a health coach, a wellness coach, somebody working in the online health and wellness space, then this channel will help you grow your business. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and then the bell next to it so that you get notified. So I know a little bit about starting a health coaching business. I was a health coach for 5 years. I built my business to 6 figures in just 3 years. And then recently I transitioned over to helping health coaches build their online business. And to date, I've helped hundreds of coaches. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you really where you should be focusing your time so that you can be successful growing your business this year. Okay, so the tips that I'm gonna give you are not just tips that I'm pulling out of my butthole. These are tips that were actually given to me by some of the world's top marketing experts. So every year, either in person or virtually, I attend the Social Media Marketing World Conference so I can see what the top marketing experts in the world are saying about online marketing, and so I can stay on track. So I'm gonna share everything I have learned right here in this video. So, tip number 1 for being successful in 2020 is video. You gotta get on video. I actually don't know how successful you can be without using video in your online business. Maybe you can do it, but I feel like it's gonna take a lot longer and it's not gonna work for most people. Clients are only gonna buy from you if they feel like they know, like, and trust you. And that's something that's really hard to pick up from text alone, from written word alone, like a blog post. People are really gonna connect with you a lot faster and a lot more deeply when you actually show up on video because they can see your face, they can see you making eye contact with them, they can see your quirks and your eccentricities. I think that's a word. They can see your personality, right? And they can actually connect with you, the human. And that's what's so awesome about video is that ability to connect. Now, I totally get that video can feel overwhelming and scary. And maybe you're looking at me now and you're like, Kendra, you're just naturally good on video. You know, it's your thing. That's not true. I actually used to be really uncomfortable with video. And I remember when I first started going on video, I think this was back in maybe 2016, 2015, maybe. I was so uncomfortable. I actually encourage you to go onto my Facebook page. It's Kendra Perry Inc. is my handle. Go to the videos and scroll back to way back in the day when I first started making videos. You will actually see how uncomfortable I am. I have a very different vibe because I was literally crapping my pants every time I got on camera. And I remember the first video that I ever made, it was a Periscope video. I don't know if this app still exists, but it was sort of the first live stream video app before Facebook Live took over. And I remember going live for the first time, leading up to the video. I was so nervous, I was sweating. I had this whole script written out and I was just like so nervous. Like I had butterflies in my stomach. And then when I got live on video, I had a friend there who was kind of cheering me on and I was just, you know, I did okay, but I was just really uncomfortable. So my point is, you're not just born being good at video. It's something that you learn and improve over time. So the reason why I can be so good on video now is because I've been going on video at least once a week for the past probably 4 years. So if you do the math, I can't do math in my head, but that's a lot. That's a lot of videos, right? That's like 50 videos a year, maybe more for the past, I don't know, 4 years. I can't do the math, but that's hundreds of videos, right? So just start, and it's okay if it's not perfect. It's okay if you feel uncomfortable. People love imperfection. You know, people are really over this perfectly curated highlight reel. They want to see your personality. They want to see that you're not perfect. And just my advice is to just do it and to keep doing it because you will get better over time and you will get more comfortable over time. Okay, my second tip for being successful in 2020 is stories. So Stories are very much woven into our DNA, right? Our entire ancestral history is built on these stories being passed down from generation to generation. Humans love stories and they connect to stories, right? So there's a lot of different ways we can share stories within our business, but I really recommend that you figure out what your story is. And the truth is, you have a very long story. It's probably very convoluted. A lot of different things happen. And I'm not asking you to share that entire story, but what I actually recommend is you spend some time either on a Google Doc or maybe in your journal and write down your entire story. This is going to take a little bit of time, but write down your entire story and then go through it and highlight the most interesting and the most relevant parts, right? And you want to share this story with your people. Your people want to know you, right? They want to know you better. They want to know how you became a health coach or whatever type of coach you are. They want to know how you got there because they will connect with that, right? And the people who we end up following and paying attention to are usually the people that we relate with, where we connect with their story. So do not be shy to share stories in your business as much as possible. So in social media marketing world, I always watch Michael Stelzner. So he's the guy who runs the conference. He always does a marketing trends. It's one of the keynote talks. And in the last 2 years, he has spoke to stories in both talks. So stories are really important. So figure out what your stories are and then figure out how you can weave stories into the content that you share, whether that's a story of a client, another story that you might have that just came up. But what the point is stories are really, really important and you need to share them if you want to be successful in 2020. The third piece of advice for being successful in 2020 is relationships. So I've sort of alluded to this in both when I talked about stories, when I talked about video, but gone are the days where you're just trying to get as many people as possible on your email list or following you. We don't want to go wide anymore. We want to go deep, right? We want to make relationships with the people that are following us. So it's way better to have 500 super engaged Instagram followers than it is to have 5,000 people who don't really give a fuck about what you're doing, right? I've seen coaches build six-figure businesses with only 300 to 500 Instagram followers, but they were the right people and they built relationships with them. So you cannot just hide behind your computer, put yourself out there and expect people to buy. You actually have to get boots on the ground and you have to get to know these people. You have to reach out, you have to have conversations with them, and you have to build a relationship with them. Relationships is actually the biggest social media hack that I can give you. If you want to be successful on social media and you want to make money from social media, that's going to be completely dependent on the relationships that you build with your followers. And this actually is a good segue into point number 4 or tip number 4, which is what's called dark social. I know it sounds really like creepy and eerie and it's like something from Star Wars, but what dark social is social media that cannot be tracked. So that's going to be Instagram DM, Facebook Messenger, Facebook groups, a WhatsApp message, right? It's this type of social media that you can't really get analytics on. And dark social is the perfect place for building relationships. And dark social is really, really important these days and you really should be focusing on it. So me personally, I try to start up as many conversations as possible in direct message on Instagram. Now, Instagram is my primary platform that I show up every day, so that's why I'm speaking to Instagram. But for example, if you're someone who uses Facebook, that might be starting a Facebook group or trying to start as many conversations as possible in the personal messages. Now, if you use LinkedIn, again, that's going to be the messaging, but there's a lot of different ways you can do this, but really your goal should be to start as many conversations as possible with your people on social media. So a cool tip I can give you if you're using Instagram, so anytime a new person follows me, who I believe is an ideal client, so someone, a coach working in the health or wellness space, I will actually send them a voice message. So in Instagram DM, you can send people a voice message and I just say, hey, thanks so much for following me. I noticed this cool thing on your account, or I see that you're a health coach. Like, how's your business going? And I don't have any ulterior motives, right? I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm not trying to get them to do anything. I'm literally just trying to get to know them. And personally, this is actually something I really enjoy doing in my business, is connecting with people, right? And if you're someone who followed me recently and I didn't reach out to you, I'm sorry. I'm not always super on top of it, but I do try to make a concerted effort to welcome all my new followers. Because the truth is, if someone actually messages you back, if they send you a voicemail back and start up a conversation with you, that is gold in the Instagram algorithm. That basically tells Instagram that they like your shit, and you're gonna start showing up more preferentially in their feed. So there's a strategy behind it as well, but mostly what I'm trying to do is just build relationships. So focus on dark social, and that is tip number 4. Okay, tip number 5 is super relevant to 2020, and that is the ability to pivot and change course, right? 2020 has been a dumpster fire, right? We've dealt with COVID, we've had the race wars, we've had a lot of things going on that have thrown a fork into a lot of what we're doing. And if there's one thing I have learned personally from 2020, it's the ability to pivot and to change and to adapt as crazy things are happening, right? So it's really important that you're not super tied or you're not super committed to anything you're doing. And when you see something happening that requires you to change course, that you can quickly do it, right? The entrepreneurs that will be successful in 2020 and throughout this global economic shift are the ones who can adapt and change course when needed. So when COVID happened in mid-March, I had to comb through all my sales pages and I had to make sure everything that I was talking about was still relevant. So for example, I had on a bunch of my sales pages, build the business of your dreams so you can travel the world. And I was like, well, no one's fucking traveling right now, so that's not relevant. So I took that off. So I had to change up a bunch of my sales pages. I also had to go through my newsletters and make sure those were still relevant. I also had to check in with my audience and say, hey, do you guys want me to help you navigate through this? Or do you want me to just do business as usual? They wanted help navigating through it. So I had to go in and change up a bunch of my content, scrap a bunch of my content, and do something different that was now relevant to the time. So having that ability to adapt and pivot and continue to serve your audience, even though their situation probably has changed, that is truly what makes a really successful and a sustainable entrepreneur. Okay, so if you are new to your health coaching business and you want my insider tips, so these are the 10 things that you absolutely need to know if you are gonna be successful in business. I have a free guide and I will link to that below this video. And if you like this video, make sure to let me know by liking it, subscribing to my channel, or sharing it with your fellow business bestie. And if you learned something from this video, give me a heck yeah in the comments.